Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto and Carnivore, and where most of us seem to lie, Carnivish. Do you have your cuppa? Yeah, as you can see, I just finished a little bit of what I do in my Ninja blender because of the froth, and I'll have a little bit more in a bit. And it is the Lightning blend from VitaCup, which I guess has a little more caffeine. Woohoo! It's Monday. That usually starts me on a busy out of the gate day. So, how are you, turtles, pickles, snowflakes, no matter what club, and of course, Goldilocks? There was another one that came in that was kind of funny too. It would kind of fit us, but whoop, obviously I need more of the lightning blend to bring it all in. But yep, here we are. And of course, we are on the countdown to the big day. And for a lot of us, the big day actually is like 2 days before Thanksgiving, when the permission to overeat begins. The permission to just try it, just stick your finger in it, just have a little taste, a little sliver, a spoonful, a slice, a bite off your plate. All of those permissions seem to be granted by yourself for you to go in and begin. And it's like, it's horrific. For me, the way that it would go is I'm one bite away from that, 5, 6, 7 week binge. And it doesn't look like a binge on paper. Well, on Thursday, she had a sliver of a dessert. And on Saturday, she had a spoonful of that non-keto, non-carnivore thing. And on Saturday, she gave herself permission to have a potato. And on Sunday, and that's how it would go. It's like the drip, drip, drip of permission to have things. And, how does that work for you? I know how it works for me. It was a disaster to do that. I am not somebody that can eat in safety. In other words, I am not a moderator at all. Anybody that has ever been told, just have whatever you want in moderation, and is a card-carrying, carb, sugar addict, add in white flour, you know what a disaster that is. And if it's not enough that you give yourself permission for your disastrous weeks on end, somebody giving you permission, oh my. I remember last year when Dr. Westman was talking about Christmas and talking about a num-num that somebody would be trying to avoid, and he said, oh, just go have it. Well, he lost a few points. He kind of slipped on that pedestal a little bit with me, because anybody that is an abstainer could never, ever have that little something something in safety and be out of the woods and go back onto their food plan without a whole bunch of like mental games, or worse, just begin on the binge. So today is all about abstaining, being an abstainer or being a moderator. And I've worked with people over the years, and they've been moderators, and I see what they can have each day, and they do okay with it. They aren't going near their kryptonite, but they still have little treats that fall within their, if it fits my macros or their calories or their taste buds, whatever it is, they have it, and they are okay with it. For those of you that are abstainers like me, it's so much easier in our lives to do 100% abstaining from something. This is probably the toughest time of the year. The other tough time, I would say, maybe the summers with cookouts and that spread of stuff on that picnic table, getting more and more sunshine and heat, and needing to be put back in the fridge. But you know what I'm saying. So this time of year is particularly tough because people bring out the old standards, the old traditional favorites that may be in your wheelhouse of like, oh, I used to love that. And it can start with Thanksgiving with foods, or it could start a couple of days before Thanksgiving, like I always remember, which is the traditional stuff where people go for Chinese the night before, or they have pizza, or they just have, we go out to this restaurant and we just order a whole bunch of appetizers and cocktails and we go at it. For somebody like me, I couldn't even go to one of those events. I wouldn't want to go to one of those events. My my food plan, it doesn't rule my life until I don't do it. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, no problem. I can go, and then I'll sit through that and I'll wonder why. Why did I go? Oh yeah, I love those people. Well, yeah, but and then maybe you can jiggle things. So like you can eat before you go, eat after you go, order something that's like off their plan and just sit there with it, your burger without the bun, your dollop of cottage cheese, maybe even a salad. You bring your own little jar of macadamia nut oil or something like that. To me, it could work and I'd get through it. But with the grief and the teasing and each cocktail that they have more and more teasing. And what is it about that? It's like, is this a Mean Girls Club? You're all just kind of, teasing me about taking care of my food plan, my body, my weight, my newly accomplished goal. What is it about that? That's weird. Well, here at Keto and Carnivore that you see in, on my site, on other people's sites, maybe even on some of the Facebook groups, you see those of us that really support the struggle and support maintaining being abstinent through the holidays. There's no bite that I could take that would ever not have a hangover. It's like it's a drug. It's like there's something in that bite that's going to stay in my body, stay in my head, and tell me that I can continue to have these sort of little things throughout these like 5, 6, 7 weeks. And that it will be okay. Not that it's not, hard in March if you go on a cruise, but you know what I'm saying. This time of year, when you get together with family and friends that are all partaking, and has it wrecked what social life I had? You bet, because I'm not, I'm not like scheduling things like that and saying to Greg, let's do it, let's try it, it will be fun. No, no. So I guess we may appear antisocial, but for me and Greg, because I plan the meals and the time, goes along with having my mostly carnivore, one meal a day, the middle of the day. Now, for some people, the middle of the day is the middle of their work day as well. But Greg and I both get up very early. Right now, it's 3:48 down here on Cape Cod and Barnstable. Yeah. And so we get up early. So our days, I mean, like my, Uber and Lyft apps go on between 4 and 4:30. So at 12:30 in the afternoon, I've put in my 8 hours and I'm ready to turn off the apps and, food prep for the meal and have a little guilty pleasure time and get ready for that nice spread of hours that Greg and I enjoy each other before we start all over again. And so I'm not around the goodies. It's funny. I went into the kitchen at the police department last night when I was working there, just to see what kind of haul they have. It hasn't really kicked in. There's a few tins and a few baskets of goodies, a case of oranges from Florida. So there, in some of the baskets, there was like popcorn and cookies, but mostly what hadn't been like attacked were the oranges and the apples. Isn't that funny? I wouldn't go after them either. Well, maybe the oranges from Florida. I don't know. But I'm an abstainer. And I always knew I was an abstainer. I began in Overeaters Anonymous learning that I totally was addicted to carbs, especially in the form of white flour and white sugar, especially when they were together making something like a cake or a cookie. Or I don't mean to trigger anybody with those things, but and so I never knew there was such a I knew that they promoted being abstinent in OA. That would make sense. But the moderators are all out there. You know, my father died of alcoholism, but his doctor told him that you can drink beer in moderation. And he did. And then, you know, it was like 2 or 3 days and back to the bourbon. And so, you know, we can't be told by mainstream doctors or nutritionists or, you know, even Weight Watchers, any of those places that can promote being a moderator. We can't. I can't drink in safety. So I'm not having a wine cooler instead of having my usual, you know, martini because I can't drink. And there's a period or maybe even an exclamation point after the I can't drink sentence. And so, and it would be a sentence if I drank. I haven't had a drink in over 3 decades. And so I've done that by being an abstainer. And I have a place to go that encourages not drinking. We have what we have here are videos that I do and other people do about not eating. And for some of us, we can find people like me and others that are not moderators. We're abstainers, and we promote it and support you trying to do the same. You can find a gazillion videos that promote moderation and give you 15 recipes to Sunday on how to do it, how to do that dessert, how to do that bread, how to do that pie, how to do it the keto way. And many of us began our keto journey with, you know, trying to do our standard American diet favorites a la keto, which is also known as ketofying. And after a while, a lot of us went, huh? What? Why am I doing this? The point is I have to get out of the mind thing that I can have this array of ketofyed food items that mimic the standard American diet. That's like drinking near beer for me. And anybody that's drank near beer and gone back out drinking comes back to say near beer isn't a safe vehicle. Right, I know. So what I have to do is stay away. How do I do it? I do it with mostly fats and proteins. You know, there's a day of the week that I have a couple of Brussels sprouts. That's it. And so that's my green veg. It's on Sunday. 1, 2. Yep, there it is. And the rest of the week, I do things like I do put fats, like ghee, like butter, in my coffee. I also have Keto, the non-dairy creamer, because I still like my coffee blonde. I also believe that sweeteners, either artificial or alternative, are kryptonite for a lot of us. Our brain still gets the message a la chemicals or alternative sweets like monk fruit, stevia, xyla, erythritol. Our brain gets the message that we can have sweet. And so about 2, maybe 3 months ago, I gave up sweeteners. I even sent like 20 pounds to Miss Joyce in Kansas. And I still have some left. I'm going to give it to the custodian that is trying to wean himself off of sugar and thinking of the alternatives. And I still have plenty here that I will bring to him, my stash. And so I also believe that having artificial sweeteners or alternative sweeteners from the white stuff in any shape or form in my coffee or on something with something was still mucking with my brain. And so now I'm abstinent from sweet in my food plan. So for me, this is a goal, a dream come true, because I always had to have the sweet, and I always had to have in my coffee. That's where it was lingering. And so although I was savory with my things that I chewed, just to make it simple, the things that I drank had to have that little bit of sweet in them, except the water. And so I was able to give that up. Do I miss it? Nah, I really don't. I've gotten used to the nice, strong taste of coffee laden with a little bit of fat to get me through. I have 3 cups of that during my non-eating part of the day. So when I sit down to my OMAD, which like tonight will be short ribs, maybe with an egg, maybe not. When I sit down to that, there's no sweet, there's no veg on the side. It's the pure protein and fat that my body loves. And the thing is the feeling full after I've completed that. Now, last night I had a 1-pound ribeye, and after I finished, there was a part of me that said, you could probably do another half of one of those. And it's like, yep, I probably could. But I didn't want to, because it kind of felt like overeating. And I knew that if I just gave my body that little bit of extra time for the protein to register as full, sometimes fat makes me, more fat gets me to the registering as full, sometimes even before I've finished. But other times, I know I will get there. I just have to give the protein a second or two, I don't know, get in my bloodstream, tell my head, that I'm satiated. And so that's part of the joy of having such a simple menu. I know that with a short rib, because it's so fatty, that I can feel full, satiated faster. And with a ribeye, it's going to take a second or two, just like it does with the T-bone or the porterhouse. And with the burger, I usually put a piece of cheese on it, like the smoked organic Gouda from Whole Foods. Yes, please. And that makes me feel more satiated quicker, if there is such a thing. So a smaller amount of the burger, like sometimes I'll have that with another piece of protein, mostly beef, so I get that feeling. So in learning how it is to be an abstainer and what works with my limited carnivore menu, it's been a blessing, because I don't have to choose between 16 things. My social life, because it just isn't worth it to be around drinkers and people that eat 3,000 calories standing up. That was one of my rules that I took away from Overeaters Anonymous way back in the 70s, 50 years ago. I don't eat standing up. And so what I've learned to do is that when those appetizer things are going around, I'm not taking 2 or 3, putting them on little napkins, and then, pulling it off with a toothpick and then looking for that person again. That one was good. I eat sitting down. So my suggestion to you, could be too late, you could have gone to the party last night, is to maybe have that plate of appetizers and make that your meal when you do finally sit down. And have your little, maybe mineral water, that's your appetizer, right? Put some salt in it and bring it with you. If they don't, I'm not a soda water fan, because most of the sweet stuff, or the sweet natural flavors, which are also known as chemicals, that's not going to do it for me. I like the mineral water with the salt in it, mostly the Gerolsteiner. I think that's how you pronounce it. So I'm an abstainer. Are you an abstainer? Or are you a successful moderator and it's still working for you? Bless you, if you can have that. So anyway, that's what I'm saying today. Good luck. We're on the countdown. You will make it. Thank you so much for watching. I do accountability coaching. It's a very simple program. I just kind of hound you, not not a la Jillian Michaels, but I put a little, your feet to the fire, because that's what you're asking for, little nudges, right? Just to keep you on board, and you have to be accountable to not just yourself, but to me. And that sometimes has some magic in it and just makes you nice and contained. It's easier to be 100% abstinent. That's my message for today. Thank you so much for watching. This is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food, with Keto and Carnivore and Carnivish. Thanks for watching.